Hey, so this is Keith Montoya. This is my ID card here. Trying to cover the number here. I have blonde hair in the picture, but I think I look the same, so here you go. Today I'm going to talk about the Miranda versus Arizona case that was held in Phoenix in 1966. It's a very famous case in American history that has impacted criminal justice in several different ways. Some of the facts of the case are that the person who was convicted of the crime, his name was Ernesto Miranda, and he was convicted of a crime in which he was kidnapping and raping a woman, and he was soon found because the woman, she went to the police officers and she gave him a description of what he looked like and what kind of car he was driving. So her brother was actually the one who noticed his car, which led him to be easily found. Um, After he was found, he was questioned for about 2 hours. And, the way police officers are, they got him to confess to his crime. And they even asked him to write it on paper, which he did. He wrote it on paper and he even autographed it. Now, throughout this whole thing, he had no lawyer, so he didn't really have much protection with him. The police officers, they were like, hey, we can use this as evidence in court for him to be found guilty. So they did take him to court, obviously. And he was found guilty and was sentenced to about 20 to 30 years. Now, looking back on the case, Ernesto was like, wait, hold up. I didn't have the rights, and I feel like I was treated unfairly this time. So he took the case to the Supreme Court, explained, how they violated the Fifth and the Sixth Amendments, which are supposed to protect your rights as an American citizen. And he had a whole court hearing. They soon turned the case, and he only got about 16 years in court, I'm pretty sure. And, this made a huge impact on American history. It was actually one of the very few famous Supreme Court cases that made big impacts on history in the 60s. You'll notice like the change that this case has made on government and criminal justice in the way that when you're stopped by a police officer now, they tell you your rights from the get go before you're allowed to say anything. They'll be like, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you can say can be used against you in court. And they'll say things like, you have the right to consult a lawyer. And if you aren't unable to find a lawyer or afford one, you'll have one appointed to you and represent you in court. This is also known as the Miranda warning. It was given a name and is still used to this day. Some argue that they feel that the Constitution shouldn't be. There are people who say that, the Constitution never said that you have to know your rights before you're convicted of a crime, or before you talk to police officers or any officials. So there are some people who are against this Miranda warning, but I feel like it's more safe than sorry. Why not just go the extra mile and tell the person you're stopping their rights? Because they might not be aware of them. Um, it's kind of unfair. Not every citizen's going to know every single amendment and every rule and every law, so I think it's pretty helpful. It's easy for you to say that it's now easier for a person to get away with a crime, but I mean, with enough evidence gathered, there's no way he's gonna get away with this. So I'm not sure how far that argument gets, but it makes sense to me. I think it's a pretty useful thing in government now. So yeah, I think the Miranda versus Arizona case has brought some pretty good things to the government and made a good impact. The crime wasn't a good thing itself, but it's a good thing that it happened for these things to be brought to people's attentions and the government's attention. So, yeah, I'm not against it. All right, thank you.